Good afternoon, Santa Clarita. I'm your Mayor, Cameron Smythe. As I mentioned in my last update on Wednesday, things change very rapidly and they continue to do so. And so it was important that we came back together this afternoon to give one more update headed into the weekend. I know people are getting ready to celebrate Easter and today, with today being Good Friday. And I want to wish everybody a happy holiday weekend. But first, I think it's important that we recognize that yesterday, Santa Clarita was notified by Henry Mayo Hospital that our first confirmed death at Henry Mayo Hospital occurred as a result of the virus. And while we don't have any information of the person who passed away, we certainly want to offer our condolences, and this really brings it home, the importance of continuing the social distancing and the requirements and guidelines so that we don't see any more deaths and we're able to move back to our regular life as quickly as we possibly can. So to that end, earlier today, the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health, of which oversees the city of Santa Clarita, extended the stay-at-home order or the safer-at-home order through May 15th. That order was initially put in place until April 19th, and now it has been extended another 4 weeks to May 15th. All this does is extend the current restrictions around social distancing and essential and non-essential businesses. This order is not in place or not being extended because what we're doing isn't working. It's being extended because what we are doing in Los Angeles County, California, Santa Clarita is working. And the hope is we continue this policy and we continue to follow these guidelines, that we will be able to not only flatten the curve, but knock it down completely so that we will be able to return to our normal, regular life and activities. Additionally, the County Department of Public Health has now issued a mandate that all individuals that are going into essential businesses or you're going out in public must wear some type of facial covering. If you do not have a medical mask or a traditional mask that you see people wearing, you still can use other coverings, whether it be a bandana or if you snow ski or snowboard, you have the coverings that you can wear as well. That is, again, in place, and it is a mandate starting tomorrow morning. Not only is this for individuals that are visiting or shopping at essential services, but also companies that have been deemed essential. Those that are deemed essential are now required to provide their employees are to also wear facial covering while they're performing their duties, especially if they include contact with other employees or their public. Or the public. The county is also requesting that those companies deemed essential provide a physical distancing plan for their employees and to also post that as well. Keep in mind all public and private gatherings of any number of people occurring outside a single household or living unit continues to be prohibited. I know that the temptation is there with coming up on the holidays to get together, but if you do not live within that single unit, family unit, those gatherings are prohibited. Today, the county also released that there are now 8,430 confirmed cases with 241 deaths. Here in Santa Clarita, we now have over 160 confirmed cases within the Santa Clarita Valley. Also for this weekend, the fields at all city parks, the city's 34 parks, will be closed. As you all know, the weather has been pretty rough this past week. and it's important that we stay off the city fields to allow them to recover. So there should be no picnics, no one-on-one playing catch, or any social activities on the city fields. That being said, you still can take a walk through the city parks, and if you want to still utilize that you are fine, you're free to do so. But again, the fields will be closed through the weekend. I know some of the questions will probably arise around the guidelines for the facial coverings. If you want to take your dog for a walk, or you want to walk by yourself, or go for a solo jog through your neighborhood, you do not have to wear a mask. But if you are going to be engaging, or if you're going to be walking with your family unit, it probably makes sense to bring your masks and to wear them if you think you're going to come in contact with other members of the community. Also want to remind everyone that Santa Clarita does have our mobile drive-up testing location. That was started on Wednesday morning, and we're seeing a lot of significant numbers of people utilizing the tests. And as such, over the next several days, we will probably see a spike or an increase in Santa Clarita's positive testing. So we may see an increase in raw numbers going up within the valley, but our overall percentage will likely decrease because of the volume of testing. Keep in mind that those tests must be done through an appointment. You can either visit the county's website to walk through the application process, or you can call 211 to determine whether or not you are eligible for the test. And once you have your confirmation number and time, you will proceed to the mobile testing location, which is being held at College of the Canyons Valencia campus in the new parking structure. Lastly, I want to finish up as we kick into the weekend. The city, with some of our partners, are launching the Heart for Heroes campaign. The Heart for Heroes gives Santa Clarita residents an opportunity to design a heart and display it and post their messages of gratitude on social media, which will then be shared with our essential workers. And here, if you wish, you can download the template at santa-clarita.com/hearts4heroes, or you can design your own heart with whatever supplies you have at home. And then you can display the heart either on your door, window, lawn, or car. If you take a photo and post it on your social media using the hashtag Hearts4Heroes, these posts will be collected and displayed at different locations for our essential workers to see. So we want to fill our community with gratitude. I know I see a number of posts throughout social media properly recognizing our essential employees, whether that be at the hospital or our frontline healthcare providers, or our bus drivers, our grocery workers, all of those individuals that are working hard in this community for us. This is a great opportunity to post a heart for our heroes, maybe an art project you can do with your kids when they come back to school. I know it's difficult with everyone being constrained by the social distancing. So again, go to santa-clarita.com/heartforheroes, or design your own heart and post it using that hashtag, and we will make sure that it is shared with our essential employees. So again, keep in mind that, we are, as of today, the essential order for essential businesses, non-essential businesses, guidelines around the Safer at Home program has been extended to May 15th. And starting tomorrow, if you are going out in public to go grocery shopping or visiting other essential services, you are required to wear some type of face covering, as well as businesses that are serving and have been deemed essential. You are now required to provide you're covering for your employees as well. So please keep that in mind as we start into the weekend. These new restrictions will go into place on Saturday morning. And lastly, one more reminder that the Santa Clarita parks, all 34 of them, the fields will be closed for the weekend. And we encourage you to respect that and not utilize those city fields. So please, I know it's a tough weekend to keep these social distancing guidelines enforced, given it's usually a time for families and friends to get together. But please follow those guidelines. We know that the order has been extended, but if we continue to follow them and put these in place, the sooner we'll be able to say we are done and we have flattened the curve, we've knocked it down, and we're able to get back to our regular day-to-day life. So once again, Santa Clarita, thank you for your time. Thank you for your support for our essential workers, and thank you for looking after one another. And I'm happy to take any questions if there are some.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Our first question comes from Leslie. She wants to know, when are we going to light up things blue and yell and clap for our essential workers?
So I think that some of that has happened organically. I know there have been times where it's been posted yesterday about doing a clap for our essential workers. I think right now the city's first program is to work on this Hearts for Heroes, but as other communities look to do a light up campaign or a clap campaign, that's something that the city can help organize as well. But right now I think our focus is to do the Hearts for Heroes, but again, if organically it comes up where people want to do the clapping or the lighting, that's certainly something that can be done and doesn't have to be directed by the city.
Thank you, Mayor. Vicki would like to know, does this mean that City Hall will be closed and all businesses will be closed until at least May 15th?
I believe all non-essential businesses will remain closed through May 15th. City Hall will likely be closed through that time as well. What is currently in place now in terms of restrictions, I expect will be extended through May 15th. If something changes, the county will certainly let us know and we will pass that along. But yes, what is in place now, which was initially in place till April 19th, has now been moved to May 15th.
Elizabeth is asking, can we plan on resuming school in August? I'm also worried about the local small businesses and even larger businesses like Disney, who employ a lot of Santa Clarita residents, not being able to survive any more of this.
So I would defer to the school districts about starting back in August. I certainly think the intent is to be as aggressive as we can to knock down the spread so that schools can resume in August. And certainly as a parent of 3 kids in our school system, I hope that is going to be the case as well. I think I absolutely share the concern about the impacts on businesses throughout California and certainly Los Angeles County. And I know that the Department of Public Health takes that into account as well. And the feeling is if we lift these orders too soon, there could be a bounce back, which then could cause an even longer extension of closures. So the hope is we can just be aggressive and try to make it through this time. I know the state and federal government are providing stimulus package, money and support in grants and loans to our small businesses to try to help minimize that impact, to keep them going so that when these orders are lifted, they will be able to get back to business.
Lori would like to know where to get masks, at grocery stores or the pharmacy?
So I think part of the delay for LA County to impose the mask requirement was the concern about access. Los Angeles County has 10 million people. We're larger than many states, the largest county in the country. And I think the Department of Public Health recognizes that there are not 10 million masks currently available. The state of California is signed a deal to provide millions of masks coming in very shortly. But the requirement, again, is not a mask. It is a facial covering. So if you have a bandana or again, if you snow ski and you have one of the face coverings you use when you're snowboarding or skiing, that is acceptable as well. It's just a facial covering that will cover your nose and mouth when you are interacting with people that you do not currently live with.
Vicente wants to know, will city facilities still host summer programs?
I think certainly that is the hope. I know that we have instituted our closures or our cancellation of events through this time frame in May, but I think programs like our concerts in the park, we desperately want to keep those up and running, so there is events for people to enjoy and participate in the city. It's just going to be a matter of what the public health departments say and how that curve is knocked down. And again, I think that's the point of trying to be as aggressive as we can, even if it extends a little bit beyond what you probably could do. We want to make sure that there isn't any rebound so that we can have large events like the concerts in the park that bring 10,000 Santa Clarita residents together in a pretty close space. We're not going to be able to do that if there still is the threat or a strong threat of the virus being passed. So that we hope to keep our programming available, but that will be determined as we get closer and get more data.
Kimberly would like to know, how can one get a marriage license during this time?
So I think you can still apply online through either the county or the city, and I believe those services still can be provided, at least at City Hall, either by appointment or online.
Jamie wants to know, what are the repercussions for not covering up?
So that's been a question, and I think that's something that other counties and communities deal with. When you institute these orders, what is the enforcement mechanism? And I certainly do not want to have to send our sheriff's deputies to go enforce or cite someone for not wearing a mask or a facial covering. I think what we have seen is many people are already following the guidelines on their own, and there hasn't been that enforcement. But employees and companies that have employees that have been deemed essential have to submit a plan to the County Department of Public Health to demonstrate that they are following those guidelines and how they intend to do it to protect their employees and customers. And I think if those aren't followed, there probably is the threat or the option of those businesses not being able to remain open. So it's important that we follow those guidelines so that our deputies are able to continue to do the job that we need them to do to keep our community safe and not to have to go and cite people for not wearing masks. A good example was several weeks ago when we saw many people just ignoring the orders and playing basketball and using our city parks and using our city courts. Yes, we ended up shutting those down, but in checking with our staff, you don't really see people out using the courts anymore. People recognize that they're closed, so we haven't had to send out our law enforcement to enforce those orders. So I certainly hope that people recognize the importance of this and the need to continue to follow.
Lorraine would like to know, if essential workers have to wear masks to protect the public, why doesn't the public have to wear a mask to protect the essential workers?
Again, that is the order. If you are going to be interacting with, so if you're going to an essential business, grocery store, fast food, drive-through, if you are going to be interacting, you need to be wearing facial coverings starting tomorrow morning.
Mary wants to know, where can a senior get a meal?
So our senior center continues to have drive-through lunches It's a great program where our senior centers and volunteers are continually providing a daily lunch. If you cannot drive, you still can have a meal delivered. So please reach out to our local senior center. They do an amazing job to ensure that every senior has a meal, and whether again it's delivered to you or you're able to use the drive-through lunch program at the senior center location.
Diane and Anthony are asking, what about the economic impact of this? How will the city be working with those of us not able to work because of this?
Again, this is a challenge, and this is an order that's come from the County Department of Public Health, and so it's an order that must be followed across the county. The city of Santa Clarita specifically does not have resources to provide that financial support or grants or loans to our business community. However, those are being made available through the state, the county, and federal governments. And so I would encourage, if you have a specific need, to reach out to either us here at City Hall or our state representatives that can help guide you to the proper department, so you have access to those resources to apply for those grants and additional support.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you explain again, there's still some questions about the order and who gives it, you versus LA County Department of Public Health?
So the city of Santa Clarita does not have our own health department. Out of the 88 cities throughout Los Angeles County, only 3 of them have their own health department. So that's the city of Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Pasadena. The rest of the cities in the county fall under the county's Department of Public Health. So all of these orders around businesses being open or closed, the facial, the coverings, all come from the Department of Health. And so the orders that they're making are now cover the entire Los Angeles County. You may see some differences in LA City than Santa Clarita, because LA City has its own health department. Same with Long Beach or Pasadena. I know the goal has been for there to be a county-wide philosophy, a lot of symmetry between the orders, but some of those cities, like I said, Long Beach, LA, and Pasadena, they can do their own orders because they have their own health departments. So ultimately, these decisions are being made by the LA County Department of Health. Certainly, the county has been in contact with all of the cities, and I know other mayors and I have been in contact with one another to try to ensure that there is some symmetry. But ultimately, these directives are being made by the LA County Department of Health, which covers Santa Clarita.
Thank you, Mayor. And we will wrap up with a comment from Kieran, who says, "Thank you, Mayor, for your steadfast leadership around the clock during this crisis."
Well, thank you all very much. And as I said on Wednesday, and you all know, these are unprecedented times. There's still a lot of moving parts, a lot of different orders that are coming down, whether it be from the federal government, the state, or locally. And I will continue to do my best to keep the residents of Santa Clarita informed and have the most timely information. So thank you for being strong. I know these are tough times, especially this weekend. But as I said, the more aggressively we can follow these orders, the more quickly we can be out from under them.